I wish to remind Governor Sakaja that the Senate in fact directed that those NMS pending bills were the responsibility of State House, from where he was speaking yesterday, since the accounting officer for NMS was the comptroller. He should have used the opportunity yesterday to remind the President that thousands of contractors and workers are still owed money by State House and their livelihoods remain in peril as Ruto continues to ignore them. This agreement is a blatant continuation of the NMS model and with it, the culture of unpaid bills, weak audit systems and unbridled corruption. Fourthly, it is in the public knowledge that the national government owes Nairobians over 100 billion shillings in unpaid rates and other payables from national government institutions. Ruto throwing around the figure of 80 billion as a symbol of his generosity to the people of Nairobi is nothing but a ruse. Fifthly, the national government continues to hold on to functions that are solidly county functions under the 4th schedule of the Constitution. For instance, the Constitution recognizes only 2 levels of roads, and that is national trunk roads and county roads. Kenyans must note that national government agencies like Kura and Kera continue to insist on doing roads in Nairobi when they clearly need to hand over those roads and the attendant resources to the county government of Nairobi. In fact, the late Baba Raila Amolo Odinga repeatedly called for the disbandment of these 2 agencies, going so far as including the full unbundling of the functions in the MOU he signed with President Ruto in March of 2025. Ruto continues to not only ignore that MOU, but to actively violate it as demonstrated by the so-called cooperation agreement. In addition, there exist constitutional and legal ways to channel funds to specific counties in recognition of their unique needs and status. These include additional allocations and conditional grants. Examples of these grants include grants to counties to construct headquarters and industrial parks. By the way, you should know Nairobi doesn't receive any of those funds, but other counties receive. If indeed we needed national government to build a world-class market at Gikomba, we can channel resources to the county government of Nairobi to build that world-class market through similar instruments. Lastly, it is my considered view that arrangements such as NMS and the proposed cooperation agreement unnecessarily obfuscate and complicate oversight and accountability processes by the assemblies, the Senate, and the Office of the Auditor General. The President at every turn dismisses concerns raised by both the people and their representatives as noise. He asked those with alternative ideas to give those ideas. Mr. President, I have said before that it is possible to govern and achieve development within the confines of the law, and I want to demonstrate this today. Here is what I would have done. Number 1, direct that all national government agencies that owe monies to the people of Nairobi immediately clear their obligations, which are in excess of Kenya shillings 100 billion, and let the County Assembly of Nairobi ring-fence those monies towards development projects, including roads, markets, drainage, garbage collection, and the payment of pending bills. By the way, Nairobi still holds the highest amount of pending bills, over 100 billion shillings, so that if we were paid the 100 billion shillings that the national government owes us, we can clear those pending bills. Number 2, immediately transfer all county functions to counties in accordance with the Constitution and the MOU that you signed with Raila Odinga. Dissolve Kura and Kera as per his advice and channel all their budgets to the Nairobi County government to do our roads. Number 3, utilize existing legal instruments such as KARA and conditional grants to channel additional funds to Nairobi for streetlights and markets, noting the unique security needs of the capital county. 4, direct Treasury to honor the disbursement schedule passed by the Senate that legally requires them to transmit county shareable revenue by 15th of every month. You have heard us in the Senate complain of frequent delays, and the Council of Governors as well, frequent delays in disbursement of the shareable revenue, which is part of the problems, the causes of the problems in the counties. And you have heard that a state institution such as State House has already expended its entire budget 4 to 3 months before the end of the financial year. Yet, county governments are behind 3 to 4 months in terms of receipt of their allocation. So you see, Mr. President, it is possible to remain faithful to your oath of office. We want development, but only if undertaken in strict accordance with the Constitution. This is, in fact, is the very foundation of leadership. I want to take this opportunity to urge both parties, my Governor Sakaja and the President, to shelve this agreement in the public interest and maintain fidelity to the Constitution through those ways that I have suggested to them. I thank you. This is my statement. I will take questions, if any. Yes.
From KBC, given that you have talked about the legal breaches following that particular collaboration, could we be seeing you moving to court or taking any legal action?
Yes, the agreement is expressed to take effect within 14 days. Now, I have publicly called on them to explore legal and constitutional means to be able to achieve all the things that they wanted to achieve in that agreement. If it is not possible for them to consider this request by the Senate of the People, we will use all available means, legal and otherwise, to be able to enforce adherence to the Constitution, including through our Senate committees. And this matter will find itself in the floor of the Senate very soon, as you will see.
Senator, you talked about the audit and oversight.
Absolutely.
Of the 80 billion. We saw what happened with NMS. If this cooperation or collaboration goes on, will be oversight in this area?
That is the question. That is a very fantastic question, and that is what I have said in the statement here, that it actually complicates the audit process. Do we call this committee to the Public Accounts Committee? When the Auditor General goes to do her audit at the county government, and she's told, oh, some of the documents are at National Treasury, the others are CG where, it becomes very difficult for her to do her job. And that is why we are saying, let us maintain fidelity to the Constitution. There are ways to channel monies. For instance, I've given you the example of county aggregation parks. Nairobi does not get any money for building of an aggregation park. If you ask the governor himself, he will say his priority is a market at Gikomba. Why can't we use the same instrument to give us money to do the market at Gikomba? So that is what we are saying. It actually complicates the audit process and the oversight process. Yes.
My name is Omar from Sctnews.
Yes.
Senator, is it enough to tell the President and the Governor to shelve that agreement now that they are working backwards, signing and then going for public participation? What is the likely scenario for them to happen so that we can...
I don't know if you have come in late, because we have addressed the question of public participation. We have said it is, you know, to make a mockery of the public. For you to do something, then you say you're going to do public participation on it. It means that you've already made up your mind and that you're going to do an exercise that is cosmetic. Number two, they have said the agreement takes force in within 14 days from yesterday. That tells you that we have under 13 days to be able to complete that public participation. I've also pointed out to you that if you read at the agreement at clause 6.2, they are saying any amendments that will arise from the public participation will be included. They are not anticipating a scenario where the people of Nairobi say we are rejecting the entire thing, you know. So, and there are other clauses in the document itself that say the parties can enter into supplemental agreements without the participation of the people. So we are saying shelve this thing, go through a proper process. There are legal mechanisms for you to channel money if the need of Nairobi, for instance, has been identified as unique, just the way the other counties receive money for unique purposes like building of headquarters and building of county aggregation parks. We can be given a conditional grant to do our street lighting in Nairobi and retain fidelity to the Constitution.
Chris,
yes.
From Ramogi TV.
Yes, Chris.
During the signing of that cooperation agreement or cooperation deal between the Nairobi County and the national government, the President and the Governor said that Nairobi need to be given special treatment akin to what happens in other cities like London, as opposed to what is happening now when they are being given allocation just like any other county. Do you feel like Nairobi needs that special treatment? Chris,
I thought you were in the room when we began this statement. Just go through the statement I have given, that the Urban Areas and Cities Act was passed in 2012. William Ruto was deputy president. In fact, they called him a co-president in 2013. They, together with Uhuru Kenyatta, were given the responsibility by Kenyans to be the first administration to be able to implement this constitution. So we are wondering, how has it suddenly become clever and noticed that there is a law called the Urban Areas and Cities Act? It requires that you give Nairobi support, yes. But we are saying there are constitutional means for you to channel this support, as I've given you the examples of the conditional grants and the additional allocation. What is not clear about that?
Do you think it was a mistake to have Nairobi as a county?
No, it's not a mistake to have Nairobi as a county. The people of Nairobi are Kenyans like all the other people. That unique nature of Nairobi was recognized. I will give you another example. We have something called the Equalization Fund. The Equalization Fund was embedded in the Constitution after recognition that there are areas that had been traditionally marginalized. And if you read the language of the Constitution on the marginalization fund, or the Equalization Fund, it says that we need to put in place some special funds to bring the level of infrastructure in those areas to the standard ordinarily enjoyed by the rest of the other counties. So there is a special fund for that. The Urban Areas and Cities Act also recognizes that Nairobi as a seat of power, that Nairobi as a seat of diplomacy has certain unique needs. For instance, the bill we pay on electricity alone for streetlights cannot be compared to any other county. That is what the Urban Areas and Cities Act is for. But you do not enter into such agreements to circumvent the Constitution. This is a power grab through the back door. There are legal instruments for you to be able to advance that support, recognizing that Nairobi is unique. So if, say, Bungoma needs a county aggregation park, and they don't need streetlights as much as we do, give them money through the conditional allocation and the additional allocation for their industrial park, and give us ours for streetlights. Do you see are there any similar cooperation agreements with any other counties? There are none. And also the president must tell us, Nairobi is not the only city in Kenya. There are 3 more other cities there. As recently as last year, we gave a charter to Eldoret. So will there be similar agreements with those other cities? Or what is so special that he has seen here in Nairobi?
Yeah, Senator, I'm Julius from the Star. I have one question. I heard the governor yesterday, especially on education. For example, on the school feeding program, we have signed another one on bursary issue, the issue of bursary and the scholarship. I don't know how is it different from this one, from your perspective, or even the one for the school feeding and the are falling in the same category of
Yes, you are talking about there was a decision by the Control of Budget that before a level of government undertakes the functions of another level, there has to be an agreement between those 2 levels of government. And for instance, when it came to education, education is stated as a national government function, especially the counties only deal with ECDs. So when you are giving bursaries without a framework that allows you to do that, that is what that agreement relates to. This one is very different. This one is very different because they are not saying that they are going to undertake national government functions or that they are going to undertake county government functions. That's not what they are saying. In fact, they were very clear yesterday that it has nothing to do with transfer of functions. But it is actually transfer of functions hidden as an untransfer of functions. And the legal problems that we have, again, ladies and gentlemen, you have to go through the statement that I have made. An agreement such as was signed yesterday, I am sure those negotiations have been going on for months. The right thing to do would have been to tell the public, the people of Nairobi and the County Assembly and the Senate, that we are anticipating getting into this, agreement, and have people input into those discussions that you're having, and then reach a final document, then you sign. But for them to have been sitting in a corner somewhere hiding, having this conversation, then we're just told there's a signing ceremony tomorrow. It's like you are being told to come to a wedding ceremony, but the parents will meet next week to discuss whether they consent that their children should be married. It's ridiculous.
So your problem is the process or the whole thing?
I think I will let my statement speak for itself. I have gone to great detail from the beginning to the end to explain the issues that I have cited in this statement. Thank you. Kwanza hauhitaji ushahidi wote kwa sababu jana rais mwenyewe alisema kwamba kaunti ya Nairobi imefeli katika kazi zake. So muulize rais. Rais ametembea jijini, ameona kuna takataka kila mahali, ameona kuna shida kila mahali, amesema jiji hili linaendeshwa vibaya. Maneno ya rais mwenyewe. Na mlikuweko na yeye huko na State House jana. Sijui mbona ukumuuliza. Nashukuru sana. Wacha tukomee hapo tafadhali. Aya. Kwanza natoa usemi huu kama seneta wa kaunti ya Nairobi. Kuwajulisha wananchi kuna masuala muhimu ambaye lazima yaulizwe kuhusu mkataba huu. Jambo la kwanza ni kwamba chini ya sheria ya Kenya chochote ambacho serikali inafanya, serikali kuu ama serikali ya ugatuzi, lazima iwe kwa kuambatana na katiba. Katiba ya Kenya inahitaji kwamba unapofanya mkataba kama huu lazima tuhusishwe sisi kama wananchi wa Nairobi. Haiwezekani kwamba mtie kidole sahihi ama mtie sahihi mkataba kisha mtuambie kwamba mtakuja kutuhusisha baadaye. Inaonyesha dharau kwa wananchi, inaonyesha dharau kwa viongozi, inaonyesha kwamba tayari mmeafikia mambo fulani na sasa mnataka tu sisi kututumia kana kwamba kuwekelea rubber stamp pale. Nataka niwaambie wananchi wa Nairobi kwamba mimi kama seneta wao sikuhusishwa pale popote katika mazungumzo haya. Mara ya kwanza tumesikia kuhusu mazungumzo haya ni wakati ambapo tumeitwa kwa ndoa ya uhalalishaji hapo jana, ya kwamba tuende kushuhudia jambo hili. Sadly, ama jambo lingine, ukiangalia ile kamati ambayo imewekwa pale ya kusimamia mpango huu mzima, imewajaza wale ambao ni wanaondokea katika serikali kuu. Ukiangalia kwa kamati ya watu 12 utakuta kwamba ni watu wanne peke yao ambao wanawakilisha county government ya Nairobi, na tunaona kwamba hiyo sio cooperation, hiyo ni kama ni takeover. Jambo lingine ni kwamba serikali kuu na mashirika yake hapa Nairobi, tunawadai sisi kama wana Nairobi zaidi ya shilingi bilioni 100. Kwa hivyo Ruto kurusha shilingi bilioni 80 na kutuambia kwamba sasa yeye ndio mkarimu sana, hiyo ni kutufumba sisi macho kama wana Nairobi. Tunajua kwamba iwapo angetoa zile pesa ambazo mashirika ya kitaifa na serikali yake zinadaiwa na kaunti ya Nairobi, tungeweza kuyafanya mambo ambayo anasema anaenda kuyafanya na zile bilioni 80, na tungebakisha masalio ile ya kutoa shilingi bilioni 20 ya kufanyia mambo mengine. Jambo lingine ni kwamba serikali kuu inaendelea kushikilia kazi ambayo inahitajika ifanywe na counties. Kwa mfano, mambo ya ujenzi wa barabara. Katiba ya Kenya inatambua barabara aina mbili peke yake: barabara za kitaifa na barabara za county. Kwa hivyo ukiona kuna mashirika ya serikali kuu ambaye yanajiita Kera na Kura ambaye yanasisitiza kwamba wapewe bajeti za kufanya barabara hapa Nairobi, inapeleka kwamba hatujazipa counties functions zote na fedha zote ambazo zinafuatana na hizo counties, na ni baadhi ya zile jambo ambalo baba Raila Amolo Odinga marehemu alikuwa anashikilia sana. Akasema kwamba kazi zote ambazo ni za county pamoja na fedha ambazo zinaambatana na kazi hizo zipewe counties, na iko katika mkataba ule ambaye aliandikishana na Mheshimiwa William Ruto ambaye unaenda kukamilika mapema mwezi ujao. Hiyo ndio tarehe ya mwisho. Ya mwisho kabisa nitakuelezea kwamba kuna njia mbadala za kuweza kuzipa counties fedha kulingana na mahitaji yao speciali. Kwa mfano, kuna counties ambazo zilikuwa hazina makao makuu, headquarters. Ukienda kama Mandera kwa mfano, walipewa pesa wakajenga county headquarters. County ya Nairobi haikupewa hizo pesa kwa sababu sisi tulikuwa na makao makuu ya county. Tukaendelea na hayo. Kuna counties ambazo zinapewa hizi fedha speciali za industrial park. Nairobi haipati hizo fedha. Manake hapa mahitaji yetu ni tofauti. Kwa hivyo kwa njia hiyo tunaweza kusema kwamba labda county ya Turkana haihitaji taa za barabarani jinsi ambavyo Nairobi sisi tunahitaji. Wao wakipata industrial park, sisi tupewe zetu katika hiyo sheria ambayo tunaita additional allocation ya resources ziweze kuja. Kwa hivyo William Ruto anaposema kwamba sisi tunapomkosoa ni kelele tu na hatuna mawazo mbadala, nataka kumwambia Mheshimiwa Rais, kuna uwezekano wa kutawala chini ya sheria na chini ya katiba, na nimempa njia mbadala ambazo zinaweza kupelekea kwamba tupate fedha za kufanya hizi kazi ambazo anasema pasi na kuharibu ama kukiuka katiba ya Kenya. Asante.
Let's get into conversation with Javas. We'll be discussing, of course, the implementation